Welcome to Soccer Down Here's coverage of the USL League 2 playoffs. And what we're going to do is catch you up with the matchups of the four teams that have made it to Russell Park in Statesboro for hopefully playing matches on Friday and Sunday. We'll take it a matchup at a time. The nightcap will involve on Friday the 23rd, your Southern Conference final between South Georgia Tormenta's Tormenta FC2 and North Carolina Fusion and Fusion's U23 side. The winner of that match will face the winner of the matchup from the Eastern Conference final, Westchester United and Western Mass Pioneers. Those are your two matchups. Those are the four teams that have made it to Statesboro. The winners of the Friday matches will go to your Sunday matchup, and that will be Sunday night at 8 o'clock at Russell Park. Go to tormentafc.com for all the information that you need about getting to Russell Park, what the matches will cost you for the weekend, just to have a great experience for playoff finals soccer in Statesboro involving USL League 2. But what we're going to do in this particular one, we're going to catch you up with the two coaches involved in the nightcap. The Southern Conference final with North Carolina Fusion U23 and Tormenta FC2. We caught up with both coaches, and we'll start with the team that is making the trip all the way down to Statesboro from the Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem area. Chris Williams, the head coach of North Carolina Fusion's U23s, and the first question that I asked him was that if I had told you at the beginning of the year that you'd be prepping for the matches on Friday and Sunday, if you're a Fusion U23 fan, what would you have told me?
John, that's a great question. If I'm being completely honest, we spoke to the players very, very early on, just to kind of outline what our expectations were. And our initial expectation was we wanted to retain the league and win the league that we're playing in. That was objective number one. And then obviously now our objective has changed a little bit now, as opposed to just winning the league. But I think for us now as a group, obviously, when you go into these games, it's obviously you've got to take it one game at a time, which I think is really important. You can't look too far ahead. But I think to answer your question, it's we're obviously really, really excited. We believe in the group massively, so we're not surprised. However, we're really excited. So it's been a good and fun nearly 3 months now. So.
For those who haven't seen Fusion play, first two questions: what is what does Fusion football mean to the footprint where you are geographically there in North Carolina? What does Fusion football mean to your part of the state and to the soccer community?
It means a lot. We're a big club. Obviously we have a youth club affiliated with the club itself, and our player pathway is this is the highest, the highest level that players can play within our pathway, within our club. We merged as a club with Fusion, Twins, and Greensboro United, nearly 3 years ago now, and we're starting to create this identity, and the people in the community love coming out to watch games. People in the community are invested within the football club. They have a lot of children within the football club, and I think for us, what we want to try and do for the 23s is we want young players and young athletes within our program to look up to these athletes here, the 23s, and that's the mentality and that's the structure that we want. So, to answer your question, in short, it means a lot. It means a lot to Greensboro, it means a lot to Winston-Salem, and it means a lot to the Triad area as a whole. So, our hope is that we can provide a product that, is fun to watch, that is exciting, and also has this inner kind of warrior mentality. And that's something that we stress within the football club as well. So
what's it been like to see this last handful of years get to this particular point in the growth of the club?
It's been really exciting. Obviously with last year with COVID, we didn't play, and, that was a challenge. And we felt we had a really good team, last year, but obviously we weren't able to play. So that was a challenge. But the fact now coming out of COVID, we've been able to obviously recruit some of the players that we've always wanted to recruit, and obviously bring in some of the youth team players as well. So it's been an exciting kind of 6 months when we were kind of building this team and looking at specific player characteristics and having players fit to what it is that we want to try and do as a football club.
When it comes to some of the players, for folks who haven't seen you play this season, I guess if you were to, and I know that, coaches don't like to necessarily put spot shadows on players, but some of the headliners that folks will be drawn to when they watch you possibly for the first time this weekend.
Yeah, obviously we have obviously, really good individual players, but collectively the team is what's really exciting for us. There are a few individuals who we feel who could play at the next level. João Gomiro is one. He's a very exciting attacking player, and Cristobal Molina, who is a centre back who's big, strong, commanding, and has excellent presence. Victor Cascon is another midfielder, again, fantastic player, unbelievable demeanour. And again, I could go through the whole team, if I'm being completely honest, because they're all amazing. They're all top level players, but not only that, they're just top level people. And for us, that's what we wanted from day one.
So what has study hall been like getting ready for this really important match and really into the history of the fabric of Fusion? What has study hall been like getting ready for this next opponent?
Well, John, I'm not going to tell you that, if I'm being honest. No. We know Tormenta are an excellent team. They're very progressive in terms of the way in which they want to play. They're a footballing team. They have a footballing culture there in Statesboro. It's a fantastic club, and we know what to expect. And it's going to be an interesting matchup. We're excited. We know we're coming into a very difficult environment, playing against very, very difficult players. We know that we're the underdog, and we we'll just do our very best, and that's all we can do.
When it comes to knowing that you're an underdog, I guess that's kind of half the battle a lot of the time. When you are in an underdog situation and you're just kind of going through this with the guys and they know the battle that they're getting into, how comfortable are the guys and how comfortable is Fusion as an underdog? Is it just kind of going in there and saying, okay, we're going to do what we do, they're going to have to adjust to us, that kind of a thing? I mean, what's the mentality going into a match where you've already recognized you are the underdog?
I think, I look at our club as a whole, and we've always been the underdog, if I'm being completely honest. There are massive clubs right on our doorstep who have giant player pools, and unfortunately, based on our demographic, we don't. So we've always been the underdog within the club, and ever since I've been here now, over 2 years, it's always been the case. So it's nothing different for us. It's nothing different for us on the youth side, and it's nothing different for us on the 23 side as well. So the guys understand that. They know that. And we know that we're going to be playing against the top level team, come Friday. And as I said to you just before, we'll just do our best, and for the best versions of ourselves, then hopefully the result will take care of itself.
Thanks to Chris Williams for catching up with us, especially as folks are making their way down from Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem down to Statesboro, Georgia to get ready for the Southern Conference Final. And thanks to him for pulling back the curtain a little bit when it comes to North Carolina Fusion's U23s. Now it's time to catch up with the head coach of Tormenta FC2. And we've caught up with him a little bit already this season in getting acquainted with what's going on with TFC2. But Tom Morris is the man in charge and has been this season, with Ian Cameron making his way up to the first team and with USL League 1. So we caught up with Tom, and I asked him that same question about the beginning of the year, getting ready for this weekend, and about the big weekend at Lionsbridge that got them to the Southern Conference Final.
It's a good question. I think we've always been a coaching staff that's very much focused on keeping in mind on the long term, but also making sure we're really heavily invested in the day to day and making sure that what we're doing today leads to leads towards tomorrow. So I think as a club, Tormenta has an expectation of playing in these type of games. I think the history that we've shown in USL2 and PDL has shown that. Obviously, when we first spoke at the start of the year, we felt we had recruited a really good group. But until you get them in the building and work with them day to day and learn more about their character, you really don't know how it's going to be. So our expectations were to be here. But to actually arrive here and the journey we've been on to get here is never exactly as you imagine. So I'm really, really excited for the boys. They've had a few ups and downs this year, and they've got themselves into a position where we really have a chance to do something special with this group of guys, and to playing at home as well is fantastic. And our ownership group did an amazing job of creating an environment for us to be successful at home, but also making sure when these kind of occasions occur, that they are set up and organised to bid to host at home. So we're so excited about that. Like going last weekend, going away to Lions Bridge and playing up in Virginia. That's tough to go and play Saturday, Sunday back to back on a very small field and 10-hour drive away. So now to be back at home this week, it helps our preparation more. We know our field. We love our field playing on there. So we're exactly where we wanted to be, and we're very happy we're here, and we're excited for this weekend and what hopefully that can lead to.
Since you've already started reading my notes when it comes to all the questions here, how, for those that didn't make the drive and weren't there with you at Lions Bridge for this back-to-back, having to knock off the home side and then having to knock off a team that a lot of folks who follow Open Cup know with the villages, and they'll come up and and they'll come up and bite you. And I think they had a match with River just as a bit of a friendly a little while ago. I mean, how tough was this considering all the stuff that's invested into it? I mean, this sounded like it was, it sounded like it was pretty Herculean when it came to the task at hand.
Yeah, it was an amazing weekend looking back. It's like you've pointed out there, such a challenge. One being the away season, and the villagers had to travel even further than we did from Florida, but traveling away that far, and not only just winning the game on Saturday, but then having to go and do it again on Sunday is kind of crazy that the league even sets it up that way. But it is what it is, and we're very much a staff that doesn't believe in making excuses and just dealing with what's put in front of you. And the boys did an exceptional job of that. And the cool thing is, we've got a good league here that we play in locally and regionally, but the two teams we played at the weekend, Lions Bridge and the Villages, probably the two best teams we've played this year. So it's amazing to see the boys, and it's what you expect. You're in a national tournament now, so it should be the best teams in the country. So it's amazing to see the guys get for a really tough game on Saturday. And again, unless you watch the game, you wouldn't know, but there was 3,000 people in the stands for that game on Saturday. The atmosphere was unbelievable. Obviously, we were playing the home team, so the atmosphere was very, I wouldn't say hostile because they're a fantastic support fan group, but obviously we were the away team. So to deal with that and then come back on a Sunday and still have the emotional energy and the energy to, we know we've got good football players, but to be able to get through that game on Saturday, how draining that is. I even felt that as a coach, then to come back and do it again on Sunday and have to go to overtime, extra time to do it that way as well. It was just exceptional, and it's a real testament to the character of our boys, the leadership we've got in the group, and how bought in they are to each other as well, and making sure whatever happens, whatever scenario we put ourselves in, that they have what it takes and the mentality and the togetherness to get through that. And that's what really impressed me at the weekend with the guys.
And that's the thing that I know that folks will look at a grid, they'll look at a schedule and go, oh, okay, they've done this and now they got to get back to back. I don't know if a lot of folks understand how much of a slog that can be. And you have to work a lot of moving parts in 3 dimensions to make sure that, you get through that first one, but you've still got enough energy in you to come up with a game plan and get all the scouting done and try to work the things on a quick turn to where it doesn't turn into an absolute clunker. I mean, how does I get into that a little bit for me? Because I know it's one of the challenges that coaches embrace and players embrace, but in this particular situation, I mean, you're almost having to think about both matches at the same time, aren't you, when it comes to planning?
Yeah, you are. And again, it kind of goes back to what we chatted about right at the start, is you're always thinking about, okay, the next game, but you've always got an eye on the one after. I think two things really helped us get through this weekend and will continue to help us hopefully in the next games that related to that. One is we have an exceptional staff. So we have on the trip there's a staff of 4 of us who were all able to do between Saturday and Sunday's game, do their pieces to help us make sure that when we arrived at Sunday, we weren't saying to the boys, look, we've had no time to do anything here, go out there and play. We were still very able to, with the staff we have, we were able to give a very detailed understanding of what to expect on Sunday and how to overcome that. So that was a big part of it. But even more important than that was that we are lucky enough to have a group of players that are talented from 1 to 20 and were bought in. So there's a group of guys who didn't start on Saturday or came on late in the game. They were frustrated about that because at this point, every game could be your last game. So everyone wants to play. But to credit to those boys, when we rotated a few starters from Saturday to Sunday, those guys came in, gave us a massive lift. And those guys who started on Saturday but didn't start Sunday, they stayed engaged and made sure when they came on late in the game on Sunday, they had a huge impact. And that's a huge testament to our players, how bought in they are, and how they just want the team to succeed, whether or not they're starting or coming off the bench. So those are probably the two of the biggest things that really allowed us to not just win on Sunday, but have a performance that we could be proud of and with details involved in it, and also playing good football rather than just grinding out a result. So.
What's study hall been like getting ready for North Carolina Fusion?
It's been good. Obviously, a bit more time to prepare. So we had a bit more time to prepare for the Lionsbridge game than we did the Villages games. Similarly this week. And the Fusion are a very, very good team. Our staff's watched them multiple times, obviously, since our last game. And it's interesting, and it always happens in League Two, where there's players on our team who go to college with some of their players. With us being a Georgia-based team and a North Carolina team, that we're often picking players from similar colleges and a similar player pool. So you get some inside scoop there, but they're a very well coached team. They're very well organised. They've got a very clear style and way of scoring goals. So it's very important that we recognise that and respect that. But obviously we have our own idea well about how we can hurt them. So that's what we work on this week. Again, this week's been a challenging one because you're looking at, getting the important details in that the players need to know, but also not having them out on the training pitch too often, too much because of the heat, the fatigue from playing back-to-back Saturday, Sunday. So it's always walking that line. That's what I think we've done a pretty good job of this week. And hopefully the boys will come in tomorrow with the information they need, but fresh enough to perform well.
And then how much studying can you do against a Westchester or a Western Mass? I mean, you don't want to look ahead, but you kind of have to look ahead, Yeah,
it's a similar type of thing. You don't want to put too many hours into it because if you put 6 hours into Westchester, 6 hours into Pioneers, and you don't play one of them, it's just a waste of time. So we've started to take a very, very quick look. But like I said, our main focus is on tomorrow's game. Again, we've got a big enough staff where we can all have an eye on one or two things. Thankfully, our head coach from the USL 1 team, he will watch the game for us on Friday before our game while we're preparing. So he'll give us some notes there as well. And then we'll, as we did this past weekend, our staff will straight onto it after the game if we win, to focus on the details required. But like I said, there's no way that we're really kind of taking our eye off tomorrow's game. It'll be a very tough game, and the Fusion are a very talented team. So looking forward to coming up head to head with them.
Thanks to the two clubs, thanks to the two head coaches for getting you prepped for the Southern Conference Final in USL League 2. Reminder, go to tormentafc.com for all the information about getting in the door at Irk Russell Park on the 23rd. Matches at 5:30 and 8 o'clock. And those two winners of the Southern Conference Final and the Eastern Conference Final will meet Sunday night, the 25th, 8 o'clock at Irk Russell Park, to determine who goes on in the USL League 2 playoffs from the Irk Russell Park matchup with the 4 teams in both of those conferences, who gets to go on and who continues to work after these playoff games from Friday and hopefully Sunday. Thanks to the coaches, thanks to the teams, and once again, thanks to Tormenta FC for getting everything squared away where we can give you the best info to get you ready for the matchups this weekend. Enjoy the matchups in USL League 2, around USL League 2 when it comes to the playoffs. And if you're heading to Statesboro, enjoy it, be safe, and be well. For SDH, I'm just John. Enjoy the games. We'll catch up with you next time.